Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, and everything in between. I am the Angry Gentleman. Welcome to the video. Alright, so today we are going to do something very special. Well, you guys are getting something special. I'm getting two things special. Because I'm probably going to make both of them today, or at least start the second one later. But for this video, I am making a quiche. For those of you who don't know what a quiche is, it's essentially a scrambled eggs without the scramble in a crust. That's the best description I can give. This is going to be very, very easy, despite how fancy quiches are. So you're going to want an 8-inch pan that's at least a little deep. I'm going to be using some biscuit stuff with some butter, with the buttermilk flavoring. What you're going to want to do is you're going to want to take a couple thin layers off of that, not an entire one, and swish it down. That's going to be too doughy. It's going to be too much crust. It's not going to cook properly, and it's not going to have too much balance. Not to mention you'll have nowhere to put the eggs. You want to take a few thin layers and kind of build a crust out of that by smushing them together at the edges until you have it going all the way around. I would leave a little off the edge, just so that way maybe if need be you could like build the crust higher. I don't know. We'll get there when we get there. Other than that, you really just need eggs, whatever you typically put in your scrambled eggs, and maybe a few other things. I personally am going to put salt, pepper, probably because I'm going to be adding some bacon bits. I'll probably use garlic salt instead of regular salt. And then cheese and milk. That's probably going to be about it for mine. I'm making another one for my mom, which is the one I'll show you guys because I'm making that one first. Is bacon bits, pepper, no salt because she needs to cut back on the salt. Garlic powder, a little bit of onion powder, bacon bits, and some minced spinach. And you don't need that much. You just want a little bit so you can like spread it throughout the whole thing. It's meant to add to the flavor, not be the flavor. Remember. So I'm a little tired. I don't. By the way, if anyone's wondering why I haven't been wearing my cooking outfit, I don't know where the damn thing went. I don't know where the damn thing went. It could be in my closet. It could be downstairs somewhere. It could be on fucking Mars. I don't know. I just don't know where the damn thing is. There's nothing I can really do about it. I guess I could look for it, but I'm too lazy to do that. I'll just wait till it turns up somewhere naturally. Till then, you get white shirt. So, as far as mixing your eggs, you're going to want a few more. I would say, given the size we're going with, I would say 4 or 5 eggs, maybe 6 if you feel like it's needed. Make sure you don't make too much though, because then what are you going to do with the eggs after? Yeah. A lot easier than people think. It's basically just scrambled eggs without the scramble and a crust. Great. I have a headache coming on. I'm going to take some ibuprofen And I'm gonna build the crust. Then I'll show you guys what I'm working with so far. And then when it comes to the eggs, just don't do anything stupid. Wait for the next part when I show you. So, we're back. And in case you can't tell by the wardrobe change, it's been a while. Since the first part, about 4 days, maybe 5, I, for the life of me, could not find my 8-inch pans, which is what I need to make the crust of the quiche. Now, I looked everywhere for the frickin' things. Everywhere. Wanna know where they were? When I asked my mom to help me look for my 8-inch pans. Right where they were supposed to fucking be. I apparently looked right at them and said, nope, those aren't my 8-inch pans. They must be something else. I promise, I looked for like 2 hours trying to find my 8-inch pans. I looked in there. I looked down there. I even looked in my room. I don't even keep that much cooking stuff in my room, but I looked in there just to be safe. I could not find the freaking things. And they were right where they were supposed to be the entire time, and I had no freaking clue. So, my advice to you, dear viewers, is that if you cannot find something, ask your mom. Or possibly just whichever woman happens to be nearby, because clearly us men are freaking blind. And if you are a woman and can't find anything, then I guess you're fucked. I don't know what to tell you. You're supposed to be the one that's good at finding things. That's why we ask you for help. Anyway, on to the recipe. So, you're going to want to preheat your oven to 350. Is that what this said? 350. 350. Then, you're going to want to prepare at least 1, possibly 2, 8-inch pans. You can spray them with Pam if you want. Not necessarily required, but I'm probably going to maybe just do a light spritz of Pam if I have any. And then you want to take maybe 9 of the layers on here, and you want to make it into a crust. Then you want to bake it till it gets not all the way done, but I would say 4/5, 3/4 of the way done. And then, while that's happening, during the, I'll call it 20 minutes, so you want to put it in for 15. You want to be preparing your eggs. So, for any pan like this, given how deep it is, I would say 5 or 6 eggs, because you gotta remember they'll rise, and there will be a little space at the bottom taken up by where the crust will be. And do not blend them. Ever. You're gonna end up with something completely different if you blend them. I instead recommend you whisk them. It's some whiskey business. In this one, because this one is for my mom, I'm gonna make a different one for myself later. You can put in whatever the hell you want, but for this one for my mom, it is minced spinach, bacon bits, garlic powder, onion powder, and pepper, as well as just a little bit of Italian seasoning. I would have added garlic salt, except my mom needs to cut back on the salt a little bit, so no salt. And that should be good because you just want very little seasoning, because all of that can be a little overpowering if you're not careful. You just want that, the eggs, a little bit of milk, and the reoccurring hero on this channel. You want that fucking cheese. You want cheese. So I'll show you guys what my crust looks like if you want to copy that. To make sure it gets the shape I want, I might layer them to make sure it takes the shape that I want. But I haven't decided that yet, so we shall see. Alright, so as you can see, it's covering the whole thing. I think I am going to leave it for at least the first 5 minutes and see how it does. And if it needs support, I will add some Pam to the bottom of my other pan, and I will Pam the pan, and I will place it in there to make sure it gets the nice crust that I want. I used, as you can see, about half of the container. I think it's exactly half. So you can probably put that in there, use it for another crust later. That's what I'm going to do. I'm just going to chuck it in a bag, chuck it in the fridge, and for now we're just going to see how this thing does. Make sure everything is as nice and put together as you possibly can get it. And that's about all you need for now. I would say 5 minutes, check it. If it needs support, add the pan. Otherwise, put it in for the next 10 minutes. And we will get to the next step that you can prepare about 5 minutes before the time is up. So you would want to start this at the 10-minute mark, because you don't want to leave the eggs out for 10-15 minutes. They get gross, obviously. Safety hazard, health hazard, blah, 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 blah. Start it 5 minutes before. By the time you're done with it, it'll be time to pour. Oh, and by the way, before I forget, hello to my grandpa and Annie, who are apparently going to be watching my videos from time to time. I told them about the quiche, and Annie subscribed right away. So, yeah. Hi, Grandpa and Annie. Hope you're doing well. As you can see, it's kind of puffing up a little bit, and that's not what I want. So I'm going to Pam the pan and then place it in the other pan that's been panned. And then put it in for another 10 minutes. Alright, so good news, bad news. Good news is it looks like it's been cooked perfectly. Which means after we add the eggs and we put it in for another however long, it should be delicious. However, unfortunately, it looks like in doing the other pan, I accidentally pushed the sides down, so I ended up wasting a bunch of time on that. But as long as it tastes good, it's fine. I would still like a crust like that, but I'll take what I can get. Just, maybe be more careful next time. Maybe I'll build it on the bottom of that one next, and then add this one on top. I'll decide that later. Just do what you feel like you need to make that not happen. At the end of the day, even if you do this, it looks like it's cooked perfectly anyway. Now, on to the next step. So, you want to prepare this about 5 minutes before it's up. So you want to set the timer for 10 minutes, come back in, set it for 5, and then you start doing this. I got 6 eggs. You could do 5 if you don't want that many. Some mild cheddar cheese, the mixture I told you about before, and just a little bit of milk. I would say maybe 1/4 cup at absolute most. Now, whisk it together till you're happy with it. Pour it in, and then at that point, just cook it till you're happy with it. check it with a toothpick, and I'll show you mine when it's done. See you then. All right. So I probably should have showed you it was still in the pan, but as you can see, it's cooked all the way through and everything. And I got it out of the pan, sliced it up. I gotta say, 35 minutes later, depending on your oven, that does not look too bad. It looks a lot more green on the camera than the actual thing. I don't know why it's so much more green on the camera. I need to back up. Why is it so much more green on the camera? I assure you, it's more of a yellow color. It's more like a golden, crisp yellow color with hints of green here and there. But I'm not understanding why it's like neon green on the camera. Regardless, it's fully cooked. Let you know how my guinea pig taste tester thought of it. And in case you are wondering who that is, the same person I make 80 to 90% of my dishes for. My mother. That's right. Apparently, a lot of you don't know, according to my coworkers who have mentioned it, a lot of you don't know that like 80 to 90% of what I make is exclusively for my mom. And just, I thought I'd mention that. Yeah, and in case any of you are wondering, like, oh, but your mom probably sugarcoats it. No. If it tastes like crap, she's gonna tell me it tastes like crap. She's responsible for the numbers next to all the things at the end of the recipe. Here's hoping this one gets a 9. And yes, I said 9, not 10. Well, it might have been a while since I mentioned this, but no dish will ever get a 10 out of 10. Because my mom is the one rating it. For those who don't know, my arm was getting tired. My mom used to work in a lot of different restaurants and stuff, and it's so hard to trying not to look. I'm looking at the circle and the red square. I don't know why that's where my eyes lock onto. I'm trying to look at the red thing on the top where the time says it. I just, if it ever looks like I'm looking off to the side, I am paying attention. It's just where my eyes happen to lock on. Yeah, like Crowley's Pub back in the day, Tony Roma's, a bunch of other places. There's like 10, 20 on the list. And if she wasn't in the kitchen, she was manager or both. So, actually, I think she was primarily a manager, but she still worked in the kitchen. Just, I don't know. Back in the day when Crowley's Pub was still around, if you guys ever had a Bloody Mary or a Virgin Mary after, I think it was like 2010, something like that, my mom is the one that made the red stuff that goes into there. Long story short, they ran out of stuff for it. People were still ordering Bloody Marys. If I remember right, there was like a party right before a game and nobody ordered extra. So my mom whipped up some Bloody Mary mix, and it was so good they got the recipe from her. Still saying she should have charged them for it, but yeah, my mom is pretty awesome, and if it tastes like crap, she's gonna tell me it tastes like crap. So, not to worry. My mom is always 100% honest, even if it can be a little bit harsh. But that is what makes me a better cook. Believe me, there's lots of recipes on here which they just did not turn out well. Honestly, if things were to get 3, maybe a 4 or less on the chart, it probably wouldn't be on here. Just because I mean, who's gonna eat the thing that's rated the lowest, right? Like, for example, I made mochi once, and maybe I didn't make it right. It was awful. It was awful. It's supposed to be a dessert. It's supposed to taste like marshmallow coating on like an ice cream thing. I don't know what the deal was. It was awful. And obviously, as you can scroll through and find, it's not on my channel. But yeah, tomorrow, my mom's gonna have this for breakfast, possibly lunch, depends. Most likely breakfast, and she's gonna let me know how it was, and I will then let you guys know what rating it got, and then after that, I shall make my own. I'm still looking at the friggin' stop recording symbol. Yeah, I'm just gonna saran wrap this, chuck it in the fridge. I would recommend maybe 30 seconds to a minute in the microwave. Or if you want to go the oven route, because oven's typically better, maybe 5 minutes at 350. Yeah. We'll see how it tastes tomorrow. So I told you guys I would get back to you, and oh my god, it was a resounding yes. And the descriptions usually labeled it as a mild flavor, so I didn't want to go too much into the flavor to try to be as accurate as possible, but you can always add more. That is why my mom actually gave it a 7 out of 10. However, my brother's wife tried it as well. She split it with my mom. After only a couple days, this is all that's left. This is all that's left. She's out of quiche. And my mom has yet to eat this. 2 days? I think it's been 3 days since I made it. The thing is almost gone already. She gave it a 9 out of 10. Just because, like my mom, she doesn't give 10 out of 10s. But she did say it was the best quiche she ever had. Then again, it could be the hormones from the pregnancy. So I'll have to make her another one in 5 months? No, that's too much. 3 months? No, 5 months. 5 months. 4 or 5. I'm terrible at time. That's why I have timers. Anyway, the point is, the quiche is good.